Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of Terraform. My name is Tia from DevOps Easy Learning, and today we'll be going through Terraform depends on meta argument, right? And what is the purpose of Terraform depends on? Like, if you're somebody that is aware of Docker Compose, if you want a service to depend on another service, you need to use the depends on keyword, so that Compose will make sure that, let's say you have an application that have a front end and also the back end, you gotta know that you need to start the back end first, so that the front end, when it's launched, it can connect to the back end, right? And in this case, you need to tell Docker Compose, you need to use a depends on keyword to tell Compose which one to start first. In Terraform basically manage dependency, right? But there might be some cases that you need to use this depends on keyword in case Terraform is not able to do exactly what you want. In Terraform, basically, let's say you want to launch a resource in AWS, you want to create maybe an EC2 instance, create also a security group, the VPC, and also an elastic IP, for instance. Terraform understand that you need to start maybe by creating the VPC that will be used by the EC2 instance, and also make sure that you create the security group and the elastic IP before it can boot up the EC2 instance. Why? Because what happens here is that if you Terraform start with the EC2 instance, what will happen when the instance will get to the point where you need maybe a subnet ID from the VPC, it won't get it. And also when it will get to the instance that it wants to attach the elastic IP is not yet created. And that is why it is going to fail, right? And in this case, Terraform will help you manage all this dependency. But let's say Terraform is not able to do that for some reason. You by yourself, you need to go in there, and with the EC2 instance resource, you need to use the depends on. And as soon as you put the depends on, you will say, hey, start the VPC first, go ahead, create the VPC security group, create an elastic IP before you can start before launching the EC2 instance, and Terraform will do just that. Now, Terraform will really manage dependency if all your Terraform configuration file are within the same directory. Let's say you want to create an EKS cluster. An EKS cluster works with almost everything. You need a VPC, you need an EKS node group, you need an EKS control plane, right? Now, if you put everything in one folder, yes, you won't have any issue. Terraform will understand which one to create first. And even when you want to destroy, Terraform will understand which one to destroy first. But what happened here is that all your resource will have a very giant state file, which means if something happens to the state file, you mess up your entire infrastructure, right? And my advice is this: do not put your egg in one basket. Make sure that you split your entire infrastructure, which means you can have a specific folder for a VPC, you can have another specific folder for EKS control plane, you can have another specific folder for EKS node group. Now, when you split your resource like this, what happens now is that Terraform will not be able to manage this dependency. You need to manage this yourself. You need to know that you have to create a VPC first. When the VPC is up, you need to create a control plane. When the control plane is up, you need to create a node group. And even when you want to destroy, you need to know that you need to destroy the EKS node group, the control plane, and the VPC, right? That means you will be the one now to manage dependency. And that is where Terraform have an issue. And there is another issue that there is another, there's a wrapper around Terraform that will come in place, and this one is called Terragram, right? And Terragram is a tool that you can use in this case here to help Terraform a little bit, right? Terragram is able to kind of look through all those folders recursively and apply resources and apply everything that you want. And if you guys want to know how to manage dependency efficiently using Terragram, please let me know in the comment below, and I will get some Terragram videos ready and shoot those videos. If you click on this Terraform icon, it is going to take me to a GitHub repository that I'm going to use for this specific example, right? And I will make sure that I'll put a link to this GitHub repository in the description of this video, so that if you want to go ahead and follow the same thing that I will be doing, you are more than welcome to do so. Let me go ahead and kind of check how this within my local. I like to use VS Code to open my TF configuration. Now, let me open my command line, and it is coming. Let me just type the ZSH. This apply only to me. Please don't go and type this. It's not going to work for you. And it's just the way that I customize my command line. I am here at the root of this repository, and let me grab this, and I'm going to paste it here. I need a CD command, CD to that specific location, and ls. We have two examples. I'll go ahead and type code here to open this in VS Code. And let us take a look what is going on here. Let me take the first example. This first example, right? What are we doing here? We are basically trying to create, you want to create a VPC. And when we create a VPC, we want to create one AWS public subnet, right? As you guys can see here, this is the VPC, and this is the entire VPC side block. And here we want to create a public subnet, and within which VPC. And we basically use Terraform reference to say, hey, this is where you need to go and grab the VPC ID. That's why we say AWS_VPC .main, and we say .id. And Terraform know that it's going to get the ID from this resource. Now, here we are trying to create a VPC security group, right? And in which VPC are we going to create this security group? Within this specific VPC that was created up here. And what port are we going to open? Ingress, we are going to open just port 22 for SSH. Now, let us now launch an EC2 instance, and that's something that I just explained. Look, what happened here is that if Terraform, for some reason, is trying to create this resource called AWS_EC2 instance first, it is going to fail. Why? When it will get to the subnet ID, there is no subnet created yet. When it will get to the VPC security group, there is not VPC security group created first, right? And Terraform, when it's running, because I've seen students ask me this question, Terraform run from top to bottom like a bash script, or what happened? Terraform will not run from top to bottom, right? Because Terraform trying to manage dependency, which means it's not because I have this resource VPC here and followed by subnet and also followed by the security group that Terraform will go ahead and create everything in this order, right? That doesn't really matter. If you take even this resource, you put it at the beginning, Terraform will not go ahead and create this resource first. If you put it here, it doesn't mean that when you trigger this code, Terraform will go ahead and create this resource first, right? Because it needs to manage dependency. You put this depends on, this is not mandatory, this is optional, but you can use this in some scenarios where Terraform is not able to manage dependency efficiently, right? You will need to explicitly set those depends on, and Terraform will go ahead and do just that. That means when we say depends on, how do we refer this? Let me kind of explain now. When I'm using depends on, I'm not going to save this. let me just click, and I'm not going to save and open. When we say depends on, that means, hey, Terraform, go ahead and create the subnet. We refer that AWS_subnet.public subnet, which is this one. AWS_subnet, the public subnet, and also AWS VPC security group allow SSH. When Terraform sees this, Terraform understand that he need to go ahead and create all these resources first before he can go ahead and launch the EC2 instance, right? And let me go ahead and kind of fire up this resource. This is example 001. If you move into example, this one is 001 and ls. If you go ahead here and have Terraform init just to initialize, and when this is done, we'll go ahead and kind of tap Terraform apply, and we are going to see what Terraform, which resource Terraform will start with between the security group and also the security, between the security group and also this resource here. As you guys can see, Terraform is really smart. Terraform will start with the VPC because the VPC doesn't depend on anything. After the VPC, it's going to create either the subnet and the subnet. After the subnet, it will move to the security group. Let me go ahead here and type Terraform apply. Terraform apply. And when I will hit yes, you guys should check the terminal carefully. As you guys can see here, it starts with the VPC. After the VPC, AWS VPC main is getting created. After this, it will probably move with the subnet. Like I said, the subnet was next. And after the subnet, it is going with the VPC security group, as you guys can see. And after the VPC security group, it is creating the EC2 instance. As you guys can see, Terraform know which resource to create first, because that's why we will say Terraform knows how to manage dependency, right? It knows how to manage dependency. If you want to do this on your own through the console, you have to understand how to manage this dependency. You have to understand that you need to create the VPC, you need to have a subnet, you need to have the security group, you need to have the key pair before you can go ahead and create an EC2 instance. If you don't even have all of this, at some point through the console, you won't be able to move because AWS is going to ask. Let me go ahead here and type Terraform destroy. And when I will destroy this, I'll go ahead and remove the depends on and create the resource again to kind of prove to you guys that it is not really mandatory to put depends on if you are not having any issue, right? Terraform will handle that. Why is doing that? Let us open example 2 to see what we might have in here. With example 2 here, we want to create an S3 bucket. And when we launch that S3 bucket, we want to enable something called versioning, right? That means we have two resources. One is going to create an S3 bucket. This one is going to enable versioning. Now, what happened here is that you cannot enable versioning if the S3 bucket is not created, because the versioning will be enabled within the S3 bucket. And that is why, if for some reason Terraform is trying to trigger this resource first before creating the bucket, it's going to fail. And if that happens, you need to go in there and set the depends on keyword. Hey, Terraform, I want you to create the S3 bucket first, and that's why you refer to this resource. And when you create the S3 bucket, please go ahead and enable versioning. Before you trigger this resource, make sure that this resource is already created. When Terraform tries to run this resource, you see the depends on keyword, you go and create the S3 bucket first, come back now and create the versioning resource and enable versioning. Let us go ahead and make some modification here. I am going to comment out this, and we'll see if Terraform is still going to follow the same order and create this resource, right? Let me do this Terraform apply. And let us see if Terraform is going to do the same thing as before. As you guys can see, it still starts with a VPC security group. With a VPC, I mean, next it will be the subnet. Even though we remove depends on, right? Now it is going with a subnet. After that, the VPC security group. And the last thing now is going to create an EC2 instance, guys. That's it for this video. I will go ahead and destroy this resource. Please, if you like this video, let me know in the comment below. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so that you will be notified when we publish a new video. And also, please don't forget to follow us on social media, such as Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you. Bye-bye.